Well, we are live, Denver, Mile High City. Man. How about them Denver Nuggets, huh? Unbelievable game, unbelievable grit. Again, their playoff experience, their championship pedigree is key down the stretch as they make plays and they steal another game versus the Oklahoma City Thunder after losing by like almost 50 points just 2 nights ago. They responded, man. They grinded it out. They stayed in the game. They kept the game close when it probably shouldn't have been. And they just wore out the Thunder, bro. They made a lot of great plays. Aaron Gordon again with an absolutely monstrous shot to tie the game. Defense was phenomenal. But let me give my flowers first and foremost. I think y'all are going to think it's going to be MPJ. And I'll give him his flowers here in a little bit because I've been hard on him. But I'll tell you what, bro. That was the best game that I have ever watched Jamal Murray play. He was incredible in game 2, man. He was unbelievable. His ability to, make the big shots when needed. His defense was unbelievable. I mean, he had a huge strip of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a couple times. He had another steal where he stole the, rebounded, like almost inbound pass. They tried to kind of keep it in play and fell on it and just jetted. The way that he was distributing the ball as a true point guard, minimal turnovers. I don't think he had any turnovers in this game. He was phenomenal, man. I mean, if you look at the box score and you just looked at the stats, it would not paint the picture on the kind of night that I saw Jamal Murray play. He played 48 minutes. He went 9 of 19 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3-point, and 27 points. But good Lord, was he unbelievable on defense, man. He had 8 assists. The pass out to AG to tie the game was huge. I just loved everything about his demeanor, the way that he was locked in for 48 minutes. He really looks like not only is he recovered from whatever was ailing him towards the end of the season in terms of, was it a hamstring or it wasn't the calf strain, it was AG, but he looks healthier and better than I've ever seen. And unbelievably impressive by him, man. I'm so pumped. We had 4 starters go for over 20 points. Aaron Gordon had 22, Michael Porter Jr. with 21, Nikola Jokic with 20. And just as Jamal Murray had one of the best games, I would say the best game I've ever watched him play, I think Nikola Jokic had the worst game I've ever seen him play. 8 turnovers, 0 for 10 from 3, 8 of 25 total. Yeah, he had, 16 rebounds, but only 6 assists. A very uncharacteristic night from him. But his teammates lifted him up, man, and they're the ones that ended up getting the win. And you know what? He deserves that. He deserves that. There's been so many times where his teammates have failed him in the past, and it was nice to see him get bailed out by his team. And there's no doubt that I think he's going to recover. I think the whole narrative of like, is Jokic hurt or something? I mean, he might have something that's bugging him, but tonight it was just one of those where the shot wasn't dropping. And of the 10 3-point shots that he took, one of them was a, full court heave. So we're not counting that one. So of the other 9 that he missed, I actually thought he had really good looks, man. I mean, it was the right decision to take the shot because I think he knows that eventually, not in this game, but eventually one of those is going to fall. But it's imperative that he has his 3-point shot going and he poses at least a little bit of a threat as a 3-point shooter on the perimeter, because that's going to open up the interior of the basketball court. And he's going to be able to drive more. They're not going to be crashing down on him as much. And that's what they're doing. Like Oklahoma City right now is forcing the Nuggets to beat them with outside shots. And the Nuggets were able to do that tonight. And it worries me for the rest of the series because we're not a very consistent and a very good 3-point shooting team, but it worked out phenomenally tonight. I think that it was one of those situations where, the Nuggets got to figure out how to be a little bit more creative, creating space and getting to the rim a little bit better. But I mean, you cannot deny the championship pedigree that this team's got. And It's been a awesome flip of the switch. I think, right before the season ended, Nikola Jokic was like, I don't think that you can just flip a switch. I don't believe there's just a switch that you can flip. Well, there definitely was a switch that was flipped in a lot of these guys throughout the entire playoffs so far. And I want to give a special kudos, honestly, to David Adelman as well. I thought Dave Adelman was I thought he was impressive. I thought not just from what he's doing on the court, but he obviously has done something to get these players to really buy in, to have each other's backs, to just show the energy and keep fighting. I mean, we were such a dead in the water team before Michael Malone got fired, and they talked about a very toxic environment, right? They talked about how guys weren't buying in and they weren't watching film, and coach was blaming them, but that doesn't seem like it's the case now, man. I mean, all you heard about the reports was how everybody's holding each other accountable, and they're taking this film study so serious, and it's a group effort, and everybody's bringing it in, and I love it. I love it, man. And I really would like to see Jokic kind of start to turn back into his normal self, but I'm not overly concerned about that, to be honest. I mean, when you look at the 3 games so far in the series, game 1, Jokic was absolutely dominant. He was the reason we won the game with 43 points. Game 2, he really fouled himself out, which was the smart move because Adelman wasn't going to bench him. So he was like, let me just get out of this game because it's a blowout. But he definitely struggled in this one. But it's going to be – they're going to make it tough on him, man, because Oklahoma City's got a hell of a defense. And the Nuggets matched that intensity defensively. They kept giving themselves the opportunity to stay in the game, and they did. It seemed like it was one of those where, the games at one point where like every time the Nuggets would miss, Oklahoma would miss. Nuggets would miss, OKC would miss. And then the Nuggets would finally hit a shot, and then Oklahoma City would always respond. And it just happened good enough that, we responded with a huge 3 from Aaron Gordon to tie the game. And, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he missed his shot. He missed his, pretty decent look at it, missed that. And, I'll also say this is one of the, I want to say few games, because I've seen this before, but this was a game where I was like, yeah, the altitude played a huge role in the outcome of this game because Oklahoma City was gasping for air. They were hurting. Shai looked exhausted. The whole team was exhausted. They started missing shots as a result, I believe, of that. And I think it really worked to our benefit tonight, man. And I don't know how it is with athletes like on the second game of being at altitude. Is it better? Does your body adjust, or do you feel it more? I've kind of heard both from different players, so I have no idea. But it was huge. The crowd was rocking. The energy was good. But I really think the altitude tonight, man, was big. I just kept saying, if the altitude is going to play a role in this game and they're going to get tired, you want to hope that the Nuggets are – you're going to want to hope that the Nuggets are in the game or within striking distance. And it's exactly what they were. They were exactly in striking distance, man. And one of my favorite players on this team is Peyton Watson. And I thought Peyton Watson was so good tonight in the 17 minutes that he played. His defensive intensity, man, the 2 blocks, his ability, like he was the one kind of setting the tone for, finally being able to get rebounds, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But you could tell he took matters into his own hands, and he scored 7 points in those 17 minutes. He was +7 on the plus minus. But it's always going to be his defense that's big, and the energy that he brings. And he hit 2 big time threes. I mean, that was the thing with Peyton is when you needed him to make the big bucket, he did. But I feel like both of those threes were at crucial points of the game to kind of either, continue up with the momentum or keep the game tight. So I loved what he did. And even Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook was a lot quieter tonight. He was 3 of 8, played 22 minutes. They opted to go with MPJ down the stretch instead of him. But again, so much energy. Such a good defensive presence, and no turnovers for Russ, which you got to love. You got to love that, man. But overall, as a team, a lot of people can point to, well, OKC, they weren't shooting very well. We'll go through the team stats here, and I'll share my screen with y'all so we can actually take a look at it. So, I mean, when you look at this, you think to yourself, all right, like, well, OKC was 25% from three, and we were 40%. Those are things that are obviously not going to happen every single night. And I get that. We shot 46% essentially in total. They were at 38.5. I get that. And they also were 15 of 22 from free throws. We were 19 of 24, so not a whole lot better. But one of those games where they out rebounded us, which was a surprise to me. I love the fact that we got more steals and more blocks. That was a big thing, and still way too many turnovers. But you can look at it as an OKC fan and be like, well, there's still a lot of optimism because the Thunder are not going to shoot that badly every single night. And I agree. I mean, I agree with that. Like, I thought their coach made a really good point at the end of the game. He had talked about, I thought we generated a lot of good looks. Shots just weren't falling. I mean, and that is true. But on the flip side, Nikola Jokic is not going to struggle the way that he did tonight every single night. I mean, he might not struggle like that ever again. So this is such an evenly matched series, man. It's crazy because it's one of those types of series where it's like OKC almost doesn't want to have a tight game at this point. And this is part of the growing pains, man. Like I like the Thunder. I feel like the way that they've built the team and a bunch of young guys, and they've developed them and they're deep. Like, they're a really fun team that I actually really enjoy watching it. And I respect the way that they built it. And these are the kinds of games that are a part of the process, whether they end up winning the championship this year or in the future years. You got to go through these pains, but it's very evident that when the game is tight in these situations, the Nuggets are consistently just making the plays. Their defensive intensity goes up a notch. They're knocking down the big shots. They're not making the dumb plays that they were making earlier. They're hitting their free throws down the stretch. I mean, that's been a big thing too in both of those. In game 1 and game 3, the two tight games that the Nuggets ended up winning, the free throws down the stretch were incredible. They're just so clutch to be able to keep us in the game or take the lead at times. I thought it was huge. I really did. And this is a really fun team, man. This is a really fun team. This is a great series. And I think it's important for the Nuggets to learn after game 1 of what they're going to get from OKC in game 2, and that they really have to match that level of intensity. I do get nervous and worried about the kind of minutes that some of these players are playing. Like a huge, like I said, huge kudos, man, to Jamal. I mean, 48 minutes, unbelievable. And he's been playing big minutes the whole game. 43 for Christian Brown. I don't worry about him too much. From a getting tired standpoint. 46 for Gordon, 44 for Nikola. So yeah, it was big minutes, man. And the NBA, they'll give New York and they'll give Boston an extra night off. New York and Boston ain't a farther flight than it is from here to OKC. I don't get that. They get the extra night. I think they get actually 2 extra nights, like 2 times through the series that they get 3 days off instead of 2, or I guess 2 full days off instead of 1. But not the Nuggets, man. The Nuggets are playing every other night the entire series. So that's a little bit frustrating. I mean, I get it. It's a day, but that's huge, man, especially for a team that just came off of a 7-game series, physical ass series too. And, but man, we got a Zeke Naji showing tonight for 3 minutes. I don't even remember when he was in. I'm glad that was for 3. I'd rather see basically anybody else but him, but cool. They tried him in 3 minutes. They were -7 and they immediately took him off the floor. So, yeah, that's funny, man. I like that. That cracks me up a little bit, but yeah, I want to give my flowers tonight to MPJ. And here's the thing. Here's the problem though, right? Because I think so many people, they just let's forget about Michael Porter Jr.'s, 7 bad games because he showed up big tonight, and he does deserve credit. Like, I'm not going to take anything away from him, and it's nothing personal against the person. This is strictly the player, Michael Porter Jr. But why is it that, like, we celebrate and we get so excited about a player that finally actually shows effort? Like, when he's locked in and he looks like he wants to play, he's a really good player. But his issue is that he does it every 5 games. And that drives me absolutely bonkers as a fan. You're a professional athlete. You're a max contract player. And the only thing holding you back is simply your effort and your buy-in. That's literally it. And it actually drives me a little bit nuts with him. But I want to know how you guys are feeling, man. Let me know in the comments. I'm pumped, dude. This was a great win. It was a fun game, just a grind it out type of a game. One of those where, it's funny because, sorry, 1 second. It's one of those where, you're thinking to yourself, dude, if we don't win this game, like not only are you worried for the series, obviously, because you're now giving home court advantage back to the Thunder, but you're just like, you saw the blowout happen in game 2. Your mind starts to go there, and you're like, shit, man, now we really gotta win game 4. But winning this is big. It's huge now, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see, how they respond this time versus game 2, because game 2 is obviously it was so bad it wasn't even worth going live. I also had some family stuff I was dealing with, but we did tonight too. But it was late enough to where I said, you know what, let me just hop on and bring some positivity to the day. But Pro Point over here making a phenomenal, and Pro Point, thanks, man. Thanks for the chat. I appreciate you tuning in. He said, when the Nuggets want to play shutdown defense, good things always happen. 100%. And it is such a beautiful thing to watch, man. Like, I'm a big sucker for defensive basketball more than anything, because in basketball, I think more than any sport, defense really does win you championships, because it leads directly to offense and transition. And then with this Nuggets team, that's extremely important, because you take OKC out of their, half court defense, you get them running, and that's really where you can have a huge advantage. I love the defensive intensity, man. I thought it was awesome. They really flipped it up a notch. They were active hands. They were, attacking the rim and making it really dirty on them. Really, really difficult. The effort, the energy, everything was off the chain. And you really saw it stand out the most at the end of the game, because the Nuggets, they didn't look tired, bro. I mean, they're an older team. They got a lot of vets, guys playing big minutes, guys that have gone through injury, late in the season, like very recently. And they were cooking, and Oklahoma City looked gassed. They really did. But you make a good point, Pro Point. I think it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty to watch them play defense. And even today, like in the times of the game where we were trailing, and I think our biggest, we were the biggest lead for both teams was 9 points. So, even earlier in the game when we were trailing, it was the defensive intensity that kept us in the game, right? It stopped OKC from going on those big time runs, like you saw in game 2. Whereas in game 2, it was like the floodgates just opened up. I mean, the defensive effort and intensity was just not there, and they absolutely blew the doors off. Today, it kept us in it, man. And if you can grind it out with this team, it's gonna be a back and forth, like who wants it more type of a game. So I love it. Saeed, my guy. Love you, brother. Thanks for tuning in, man. Great win, even with Jokic not doing Jokic numbers. No, Jokic was he was actually terrible tonight. But listen, guys, I mean, he is the team. He has been the team for so long. His teammates have let him down so many times. So he deserves this. I'm happy for him, man. And even then, like I said, I didn't have much of an issue with the shot selection. I thought a lot of the threes that he was taking, he was open. Maybe a little bit early in the shot clock, but he's open. He's like, he feels like eventually he's going to knock him down. Where I had a problem with Yoke is that the 8 turnovers was the really big, head scratcher for me. I mean, they were all over him, and I don't want to be like that guy, even though I've criticized the refs so many times. But the refereeing in the NBA is just absolutely pathetic, and it's not just that it's pathetic, like towards the Nuggets, specifically Jokic. I mean, like the whole narrative, there shouldn't even be a thing that like superstar calls. That should be something that doesn't even exist in the NBA, to be honest with you, because it's like that stupid as shit, like you're favoring superstars. Jokic is like the opposite. He is the superstar. He is by far and away, clearly, without a doubt. You cannot make an argument with me. I'll happily have you on the channel to argue this point. He is by far the best player in the NBA. and has been for several years. Not even just because I'm a Nuggets fan. He is who he is. And it's almost like every single night he's got to beg for fouls. His arms are scratched up. He's getting absolutely demolished. And he doesn't get a lot of calls. And on the flip side, he's getting calls against him all the time. But the thing about what bothers me about the NBA referee, and it's not just like, oh, the refs are always against the Nuggets. It's even the fouls that like work to our advantage, like fouls against us. It's just inconsistent. It slows the game down. No one can get into any kind of a rhythm. To their credit, usually in late games, like once it gets below 3 minutes, they kind of hold their whistle. But it's like that drives me bonkers. It drives me up the walls, man. It's so inconsistent, so bad. And then, even like they're like rehuddling to talk about something when it's like obvious call, just give the guy the free throw and let's move on. It's almost like they look a little bit flustered. It kills me, man. It kills me. Like, just be consistent. If you're going to call a tight game and you're going to call a lot of fouls to kind of set the tone and give the players an idea of like the kind of game that's going to be called, that's fine. Just consistently do that. Don't sometimes do it and sometimes don't. It drives me crazy. But yeah, and I thought Jokic tonight was just getting killed. Like, I mean, absolutely fouled all the time. Wasn't getting any calls. It is frustrating. I did like to see that he was complaining about that less, because I don't like it when he's just like bitching and yelling at the refs mid-play. I think just to be able to kind of get him, just stay the course, man. Sometimes you got to stay the course, but I can understand when it happens so often and so many times in a game, it's, people can only handle so much. But Jokic, I loved the Joker suit that you wore before the game, but do yourself a favor, man, and burn the suit. Get rid of it. Toss it in the trash, my man, because it cursed you tonight. He didn't have a good game, but who cares? The Nuggets got a big win, man. Kodiak, my dude, saying that defense was no fly zone level at the end. It was unbelievably impressive. It was unbelievably impressive, man. I was really nervous going into overtime. I really was. I was like, man, are we going to have the energy to be able to finish it? We dominated them 11-2 in the 5-minute period and put it away. So it's all about the defense, man. And the offense looks so much better, and the shots start to knock down when you are creating opportunities on the defensive side of the ball. So Nuggets got a lot of things to clean up, man. The turnovers were bad. I think they had 18. Eight of them were from Jokic. Their offensive rebounding was pathetic tonight. They were out rebounded on the offensive glass 18-5. There is no reason on earth why that should happen. And a lot of it was because I feel like we were just getting out hustled a lot of the game. But Oklahoma City might have just burnt themselves out. But the Nuggets gotta set that tone early, man, and that they cannot allow those things to happen. But other than that, kudos to them. They were awesome. Like I said, we had 16 turnovers, but we forced 11. They scored 20 points off turnovers. We scored 16, so that was pretty good. They beat us in fast break points, something that should really never happen. But a lot of that is because, their defensive intensity was better than ours for, the first part of the game. But we flipped it on them, and it was a beautiful thing to see. But, just like I had said, Jokic is not going to have a bad night like he did every single night. OKC is not going to shoot 68% from free throws. They're not going to shoot 25% from threes every single night. And they're certainly not going to shoot 38% from the floor in general. So, they did all that, and it was still an overtime game. So a lot of things for the Nuggets to clean up. And I think the big thing is just try to limit the turnovers, man. I know that they have their defense is sick, but try to, just try to be better early in the game. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to see no blowout again in game 4. But it's a great team. It's fun. Dave Adelman's really got this team cooking right now, man. They really do. And he's got something clicked. This team looks like they're just having a good time. They got each other's backs, and I love to see it. Before I sign off, y'all, Pro Point coming in again. He's an SGA, just doesn't seem elite to me. Maybe I haven't seen him play enough. Here's the thing about Shea. Like, he's a bucket getter. He's a really good scorer. But he's got some inconsistencies in his game. I mean, he's still a young player. But that's what I was always trying to tell people. Like, he kind of reminds me of James Harden in his prime. They're different styles, though. Like, James Harden was a better outside shooter. Shea's just one of those, like, you know, he beats you with speed and gets to the rim and is a shot creator type of player. But he kind of reminds me of James Harden in the sense of, like, not always the most efficient, you know, but does a good job getting to the free throw line, but a lot of points from the free throw line, so he can really pad the stat sheet. But to his credit, like, what I love about his game a lot is he's a pretty damn smart player. Like, if his shot's not going, he doesn't always necessarily force it. He'll lean on his teammates to get them involved. And, you know, this is a hell of an experience for him too, as a young guy. Like, the playoffs is a different level, you know? And, so this is going to be a good experience for him. But yeah, I mean, you know, you're talking about the dude over average 32 points a game this season. You know, so he's a bucket scorer, but yeah, he hasn't been very impressive in the series. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He really hasn't been. It's been the other guys kind of carrying the squad too. But yeah, I'm kind of back and forth with you, man, on SGA. Like, do I think he's elite? I think it's hard to say that he's not, but he's a different style of player. Like, a lot of people think, oh, you know, he averages 32 points a game. He's a point guard. He's probably a deadly shooter, and he's not a bad shooter, but that's not really his forte. He's not like the most amazing shooter. He's an inside bucket getter. Actually, you know, his game kind of reminds me a little bit more of Kawhi than James Harden, in a way too. But yeah, I haven't seen him play a whole bunch, but yeah, I mean, we're making it tough on him. Like, we're sending the double teams a lot. We're trying to trap him. We're trying to get the ball out of his hands as much as we possibly can. So I think we've been doing a good job as well with him. But yeah, I mean, like, let's face it. When I look at comparing anybody, like, you talk about MVPs, and they're probably going to give Shea the MVP because the NBA is just stupid with their voting. And you can obviously make the argument for the season that he's had. But my thing is this, like, if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not on the Thunder, I still think they're a playoff team. I don't think they win close to 68 games, but I still think that they're like a playoff team. They're deep. They've got some guys that can make plays, and he kind of elevates them. If Nikola Jokic was not on the Denver Nuggets, we won how many games this year? If we won 50 games, we probably win like 20. Like, we're one of the worst teams in the NBA. And so when you talk about being the most valuable player, that's what I look at. But, you know, those are just my 2 cents. Anyways, y'all, I appreciate you guys riding with me, man. It's been 28 minutes on the stream. Go Nuggets, huge win. And looking forward to Sunday night, man. I want to see how this team responds after, you know, another late game surge where they pulled it off like they did in game 1. But again, special shout out to Jamal Murray. Best game I've ever seen him play. And I watched a lot of Jamal. And I'm a Jamal truther, bro. I love Jamal. Like, people, he gets a lot of hate. I love the dude because he's just Mr. Clutch. I was so impressed with him tonight. Aaron Gordon is just such a stud. Michael Porter Jr., you deserve your flowers. I thought Christian Brown's defense, especially late, was off the chain. Peyton Watson came in and, you know, did some dirty work as well. It was such a good team effort. So love this team. Go Nuggets, man. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Try to enjoy it. Spend it with those that you love the most. And until the next video, y'all stay safe. Go Nuggets. Peace out.